So greetings and welcome to the Halfmoon Wildlife Management Area. Thought I'd come out and get a little legged up this morning. If you want to come to the Halfmoon Wildlife Management Area, you'll probably need to bring a bicycle. You have to park at the gate. There's access through a smaller gate. But there's a lot of walking if you want to get down to where I am today. This is the Wild Treasures of an Outdoorsman YouTube channel, and my name's Peter Updike, and yeah, I'm going to fill you in on the ins and outs of the Halfmoon Wildlife Management Area today. And yeah, I'm just out here hiking out here. It's hot, it's miserable, but I'm outside, and man, I like that. Beautiful cypress trees. Look at this. Beautiful cypress trees, great big cypress knees. Kind of the idea of an ancient forest. It's not an ancient forest. What I'm on is the railroad bed, okay, that runs north and south through the management area and parallels the with Lacoochee River. And if I know my history, and I may be wrong and I may be right, but Wilson Cypress Company, back at the turn of the century, headed up a lot of the logging programs that they did here. And yeah, this is a railroad bed. And a locomotive with cars used to come down through here, and they would load up. Sorry about that. They would load it up and carry it to the landing, which was over by Alto Landing Road, which is further north. And then they would put those logs on the river and float them down the river to where they could get them out, because obviously this was a pretty big wilderness area. There was a settlement here. The name of it escapes me right now, but yeah, there's a cemetery, and there was a schoolhouse and some houses in there where people lived, and eventually they all moved out of here. I guess there was some kind of a sickness and needed to be nearby, medical attention, yada yada yada. But that is, in a nutshell, the history of the Halfmoon Wildlife Management. Now, deer hunting. Let's talk about deer hunting. Halfmoon. I've deer hunted this many times. In fact, how I came to learn about the Halfmoon Wildlife Management Area is I was at a turkey event. It was put on by the National Wild Turkey Federation, and there was a turkey calling contest, and people entered it, and there was a game warden sitting up on the bleachers. It was inside. This game warden sitting up on the bleachers, and I went up there and I sat next to him. He was an elderly man, and I remember him very well. He was an elderly man. When I say elderly, younger than me, than I am now, but older than most of us. He's probably in his 50s and ready to retire. He was a sergeant. I made note of those things for some reason. Remember it well. But I had moved to Leesburg, and it was probably, the year was probably like 1989, and I'd come to Leesburg, married the woman that I'm married to now, and made my home in Leesburg, and was curious about some of the management areas that were available in Sumter County. So I walked right up to him. He was sitting on the bleachers. I went right up on there and I sat down next to him. I said, "Hey, Warden, tell me about the wildlife management areas here close to my home." And yeah, let's talk about them for a minute. And he said, "Well, there's a brand new one you might want to consider." And he says, it's called the Halfmoon Wildlife Management Area. He says, it's south of here, right off of 44. It's brand new. And it was owned and managed by a cattle company, and I'm not sure if that cattle company was Winn-Dixie. It might have been, but I know that Winn-Dixie had Lake Pan, and it might have been Winn-Dixie, but I don't know for sure. Either way, he said the state has acquired it and it's going to be open for hunting. And he told me where it was, and it hadn't been made public even a year. So I made the drive the following day, and found myself at the front gate, and it was locked up, and there was no real access. I had to climb over the gate. And I tell you, you got to bring a bicycle because the walk is across an open, what used to be an open pasture, the road. And it's a long walk, and there's a little access there on the side. But if you want to get to where I am here, you'll need to use that road, and you'll need to have a bicycle. Anyway, I walked it from the gate all the way to the bridge. And I got there real early in the morning. And when I say to you, this is the only place where I've ever seen what I would call a herd of deer. What's a herd of deer? Well, I know what a herd of elk look like. And I know what a herd of pigs looks like when you've got a large number where you just start counting them, right? And a herd of cattle. What makes a herd of cattle? I would say probably 15 moving in sequence would be a herd. I saw between 15 and 19 deer in the main pasture as I came in. Of course, this was 1989. This was right when the state of Florida acquired the land. And yeah, that was quite an eye-opening experience. And again, I can tell you that that's the only time that I ever saw deer in such numbers. I know I was standing there and I watched them just cross the road, one right after another, as they were fleeing from my presence. And yeah, what a sight to see so many deer at one time on public land in Florida. I will tell you that you're not going to see that here now. Of course, the state does not think that's good deer management. However, that same first day, I walked all the way to the bridge. I stepped out on that bridge, and I looked down in what's known as Mill Creek. And if you come here and you drive down the road, scouting this, if you get a quota permit, we'll talk about that in a minute, you'll cross that bridge. I saw a buck standing in Mill Creek. And it was springtime because spring gobbler season had just ended. And coming out of his heads were like 2 fists of velvet antlers, just big round knobs. And that buck stood there and never alerted to my presence. I stood out on the bridge and sat down, and my walking stick, which I had with me today, rolled off my lap and onto the deck of that bridge, and it went bang, and boy, that alerted that buck, and he took off out of there. But those are the memories I take with my first experience just scouting and hiking and getting out here and being in this place. If you have to go deer hunting to enjoy the woods, well, maybe you need to rethink your affections. Because man, if you like deer hunting and you like wilderness and you like woods, you'll love this place, right? Now, I did ride my bicycle to the parking area, and then there was a walking trail that comes all the way down to this railroad bed. And I have hunted this between here and the river almost exclusively every time I've come here. This is where I like to hunt. Now, they have done a lot of improvements, and there's a lot of the fingerprint of man has come on this place other than cattle ranch, okay? There are observation decks, there are hiking trails, there are horse trails, there are signs everywhere. Yeah, we're gonna go to a management area where we don't find that pretty soon. But I like to keep wild places wild. I don't like information signs. I don't like, you know, yeah, you get the idea. I don't like handrails, and I just want the place to be left alone. But you have to keep in mind that there are people that don't hunt that want to come out here and enjoy the place. So yeah, I got a little grace for those folks too. But I killed in this swamp. I killed a 10-point during I think it was the second gun season. Now you can hunt this, but you're going to need to apply for a quota permit. Now, when this place became a management area, it was very popular. Everybody wanted to hunt it. And there was a draw system. And it was kind of like a lottery, I suppose. where you don't have any points. You didn't have any points, and you just applied, and if you got drawn, you got drawn. If you didn't, you didn't. It took me 4 or 5 years to get drawn, but the first quota permit that I drew was a archery permit. I hunted it 3 days, and I did not see a single deer on that hunt, which I found it to be odd. But that's just the way it was. But it was September. It might have been the 1st of October, late September, 1st of October. But I remember specifically it was the first archery hunt. Others killed deer and hogs. A lot of hogs were killed, but I did not see a deer. And that discouraged me a little bit, but I kept on applying, and I got another archery hunt. I got a muzzleloader hunt, and then I got another archery hunt. So that would mean that I hunted at least 4 times before I finally drew a gun hunt. And I think it was the second weekend. And I hunted down in this Cabbage Palm Swamp. Now, I kind of fell in love with the place and made it my goal, my personal quest to shoot a good, I wouldn't say a registry buck. I was kind of hung up on that. I wanted to kill me a registry buck and say it came from here. But anymore, that's not as important to me. I wanted to kill a good mature buck. And on the first day of that hunt, I chronicle that experience and my experience here in my book, Wild Treasures of an Outdoorsman. I'll be making copies of that book available if you're interested. I've kind of stopped promoting them and stopped selling them because I'm running out of books. And I think I'm down to like 250 copies. But when Christmas time comes, I want to make them available. And yeah, I can't send out one at a time, but I could do 10. So Christmas time is always offers that opportunity for that. So yeah, put that in your little memory bank if you're interested. But I killed that 10 point in this swamp, and it really changed. It really turned a page for me, and it changed the way I think about deer hunting and not seeing deer, working hard, putting in the time, scouting, and loving the landscape and the location as much as you do the hunt. And that has become a real purpose for me. That yeah, it's something I need to pay attention to and acknowledge in my life. That, you know, I love deer hunting and I look forward to deer season. But if you take this moment out of the equation of just coming here and walking and enjoying being here without the hunting, yeah, I want to get myself to the place to where, yeah, I don't need to go hunting to enjoy the habitat and the atmosphere of being here. I like the heat, I like the sweat, I like the distant thunder, I like seeing a deer. I saw a deer in here earlier standing right in the railroad bed. I thought it was a sign. I looked down here and it was brown, like summertime brown, rusty red color. And I said, look yonder, they done put a sign down there that says you're at so-and-so, such and such. But then it moved. So, oh, wait a minute, now that's a deer. And so I have seen a deer here this morning, and I got here late this morning. So yeah, it's 9:30, 10 o'clock, and yeah, I'm actually headed back again. I rode my bicycle to the parking area, and I hiked all the way down, and I'm on the railroad bed. What else can I tell you? You're gonna need 4 or 5 points, no matter what method of take you apply for. There are 2 archery hunts, so that's your best chance. They only allow 50 hunters and 1 guest per hunter, so that's 100 hunters on any one hunt. And yeah, it's a wonder how many people show up. But I think I've killed 3 deer here. I killed a doe. Oh, and I had an opportunity on a great buck that I missed it. I shot over its back, and that's in the book too. So that's Legendary Whiteface, I think is the name of that chapter. But I shot at that deer further north of here. I was just looking at my GPS. So I've got areas marked on my GPS that that have sights for me, and I was just couldn't get a signal. There's a black cloud overhead, a little bit of thunder, but now I got signal, so I'm gonna be investigating that. So if you want to hunt the Halfmoon Wildlife Management Area, I highly recommend it, but it's going to take some time for you to get drawn. In the meantime, load up your bicycle and get out here, ride to the parking area, walk down. You're just going to have to figure out where I am. I'm not going to tell you exactly where I am. This is a big place. It's 10,000 acres here in Sumter County. The Withlacoochee River is that way. If you get too close to the river, you'll be annoyed because it's full of airboats. They go screaming up and down the river, and yeah, it can get annoying. But some of this can be kind of a challenge because it's really thick and dense, and then some of it's really beautiful and open, and there's a lot here, and you can kill a deer. There's no secret spot that you would not know about to kill a deer in this management area. You can kill a deer in this management area anywhere. When you come, do your scouting, find the spots you think are good, and set up and hunt. The biggest mistake that I've made as a deer hunter, looking back, is that I gave up too soon. It wasn't that I didn't know the secret spot, or it wasn't that I didn't follow the food source. It wasn't that, oh, I was in, you know, a spot that was too high or too low or too wet or too dry. It was a fact that I did not hunt throughout the hunt. I gave up too soon, and that I can fix that, right? You can fix that. Got to find a way, even if it means getting down and taking a break, then going back. Yeah. If you're gonna wait 4 years to draw a permit to hunt the Halfmoon Wildlife Management, why would you go home early? Why would you not set those days apart? And for goodness sake, if you get drawn and you really decide you can't go, give those points back so somebody else can come, and you'll get your points back. Give that permit back, and let somebody look waiting for a reissuance to come, because there are people that have been waiting to hunt this, and yeah, they're waiting and waiting and waiting. It's like me. I'm fortunate that I was able to come here and kill a great deer. Got them on my wall at home. I even got the permit, the old school permit, and they stamped it buck filled, and it's in my scrapbook at home, so I'm glad to have that. It's just great memories, and it's great to be able to come back here. And I remember that game warden telling me, you know, you may never get drawn for that. And here I am 30 years later. I got a 10-point buck, and down here enjoying being here and looking forward to hunting it again. And I'm 65, so I can hunt other places. I can save up my points. Let's see, I have got 3 points for every method of take. So I applied for this, and we're gonna see what happens with 3 points. Someone told me, I think it was Chris told me that because of the hurricane, they gave people their points back because they couldn't hunt during the hurricane. So that might very well put me back a point. I don't know, we'll see. I hope not. I feel like I'm running out of time. All right, we love you guys. Talk to you soon. The Halfmoon Wildlife Management Area, it's here for you. Talk to you later. See ya. Bye.